Welcome to Electrolysis Unplugged, an after-hours chat beyond the probe with Joannie and Stephanie. We're here to dive deep into the world of electrolysis, education, and all things hair removal.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or just curious about the art of permanent hair removal, we've got the insights, tips, and fun stories to keep you plugged in.
So grab your tools, take a seat, and let's get into it. This is Electrolysis Unplugged, brought to you by the Electrology Education Coalition.
Welcome, everyone. Hello. Good evening. So I wanted to invite everybody back to Mentorship Hour. I am going to be flying solo today, and so I do have a guest for us, if you saw in the email. Today's topic is about something that I get a lot of questions about, which is how do I actually make social media work for my business? So I brought someone on that really knows her stuff. So I wanted to introduce Carly, and Carly's the founder and CEO and digital marketer at CS Media OC. She's also the one that actually takes care of my social media. So if you follow some of my accounts, you see some of that work at play. She helps small businesses stand out, connect with clients, and grow online. So Carly, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm happy to see all of you, and I'm thrilled to chat with you about social media today.
Now, if there's anything from your intro that I didn't touch on that you want to let everybody know, please go ahead and do so. But otherwise, we can kind of jump into the meat of the matter. So
Wow.
let's start big. So, Carly, why does social media still matter so much for small businesses in 2025?
Yeah, so I think something that's really important that you probably hear a lot is that people buy from people. Really getting to know who is behind the brand, who is behind the business, who's running things. If you have employees, who those people are. People are really connecting emotionally. It's such a big factor with purchasing nowadays or making decisions. There's so many businesses doing the same thing. Why do they want to buy from you? And just kind of thinking of your social media as like this landing page, this landing spot for people to come and really see what you're about, who you are, what you're doing, how knowledgeable you are, and having that space for them to easily access is more of like a personalized space than rather just kind of like a professional website. Sure, they can see what your services are and things like that, but with the social media presence, they're seeing behind the scenes, they're seeing your day to day, they're kind of hearing from you on video, they're really feeling your personality and seeing if you'd be a good fit to work with. Just kind of looking at my notes, making sure I got everything, but yeah, just kind of social media is your digital storefront. So kind of like what I'm saying about a landing page. It's really some place for people to come, land, get a personal idea of what you have to offer, and really utilizing it to nurture your audience because you could meet somebody at a convention or at a networking event, and you don't necessarily maybe sell them right away, but then they follow you for 3 months, 6 months. Sometimes it takes that long for them to kind of make a decision, but the more they see you and the more they get to know you through social media, it can really help them make that decision. So I think it's huge, especially for small businesses, all businesses, but yeah, especially small business.
Would you say that if you don't have a social media presence, you're more invisible or that people assume that you're closed or out of touch?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to go to somebody who's already on social media and say, well, this person's on there. I can see what they're doing. I can't really access what this person's doing. I'm going to move on. I think the benchmark is like you have 3 seconds to convince someone to stay on your page or to like convince them to follow you or to watch your video. And if you don't even have 3 seconds of that, there's no really reason for them to stick around. And yeah, and I think even if you guys are purchasing, let's just say like a beauty product and you want to go and see, hey, I want to check out the different options. Like, I think the first thing you're going to do is probably go to their Facebook or go to their Instagram. I think it's really natural for all of us to do that when we're making a decision on something. Another huge thing is like even just like personalized reviews, thinking of your social media as like a personalized review section, kind of like on Amazon when you're trying to decide if you want to buy this pillow or that pillow and you're going to the reviews, right? Because they're from real people. You're seeing real people engage with your content on social media. That's kind of like your review space, people to kind of pump you up and make sure that when somebody else comes, they see the comments and they're like, oh, this person is like really impacting their audience and doing a good job with their clientele, et cetera, et cetera.
Somebody who would be just getting into promoting themselves on social media or having a page for social media, um, which ones do you recommend? And then do you recommend that they do a separate page? So like keeping things like business and personal separate?
Mm. So I really like to be flexible in what I recommend per person. But because we are talking about a specific industry, I would say if people are doing something that's very similar to what you're doing, Joannie, where like you have your own salon or you have your own services that you offer, having that personalized page is really important. And decipher and having it differ from your business. So like having a business page for say a salon versus having a page for yourself. And it is like a business page, but it is personal because you're showing more like specific to you rather than like the salon is showing the team as a whole. And then over here we're showing just, let's just say Joannie, her expertise, like all the different seminars she's doing, webinars, things that are specific to her. And then what makes it great to have multiple pages too is that collaboration feature. And then you can do kind of cross promotion when it makes sense. And then you're accessing more audiences, you're getting more traction, pinging the algorithm that your content is doing better, thus it should be pushed out more, all of that. So yeah, I definitely in this industry would recommend separate pages for business versus personal. And
Mhm.
then also not being too personal. Like it's a
Yeah.
business page still. I think stories we can really go into like if you like want to share more personal stuff on stories like your family or things you're doing, like whatever your boundaries are, putting that kind of stuff in stories can be great for nurturing an audience. But I would say for like your feed space, keeping that professional and like on brand, on topic, so people know what they're going to get from you. You know, they want to be able to say, okay, I'm following this page for electrolysis advice, or I'm following this page for, you know, beauty tips or whatever it is specifically. And like, no, they know they're going to always get that from you, no matter what
Mhm.
you're posting to the feed.
So you don't post your travel to the beach on the page for your salon. Try to
Probably
keep the
not.
two try to keep the two separate. I
Yeah.
do see that sometimes. I've seen it from old students and everything, and so my recommendation was, you should try to do a professional page and keep your personal stuff to like your personal Facebook over the professional page. So let's
Right.
get into some trends. So what's really working right now for small businesses?
I would say definitely video. Um, if you are sticking with Instagram, let's just kind of talk Instagram and then we can go into like TikTok, YouTube, and all that. But if we're looking at Instagram, really trying to keep on a consistent schedule of posting reels, which I know can be overwhelming. But when I say consistent, like it can be once a week, can be twice a month, just kind of getting people used to how often you're going to post and knowing that they can rely on you to post that at that same frequency. Um, really kind of again diving into like your expertise, getting on camera and talking. A lot of the trends we were seeing on TikTok in like 2020 to 2022 are really coming to Instagram. So meaning like sitting in your car and talking or sitting at a salon and talking and in your kind of natural habitat. If you look at some of the videos we've done for Joannie, it's a lot of stuff like in the salon or in the academy or kind of like in her playing field, really doing what you're doing and showing people like this is like my natural habitat. And just really being real and kind of showcasing, hey, I'm an expert in this. This is a question I'm going to answer for you, or this is a hot topic in my industry that I'm going to navigate. You can utilize reels to answer questions from the comments section or questions that you get frequently from clients, frequently in DMs, anything like that. And really trying to keep it as natural as possible. Show your personality. What are people going to get from you when they come to see you? Really showcase that in a video. If you're not like super comfortable talking on video, there's also ways to kind of showcase what you're doing in, again, in your natural habitat, in your environment, in your workspace, and kind of just documenting that sort of behind the scenes and adding like on-screen text that kind of does the same thing where it showcases your expertise or tackles a common question. You can also kind of run through client reviews. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with video, but I would say definitely making video part of your content schedule. And then nothing's wrong with photos. You know, photos are great. Photos still work really awesome, especially if you are promoting like an event or a promotion, a seminar, webinar that you're doing. Graphics, photography is always great as well, utilizing carousels, single images, playing around with like music, even if you're doing photos, is Instagram loves that right now. Um, and yeah, if we're talking about like TikTok, I was just kind of chatting with Joannie about that before here. So TikTok is a little bit bigger of a monster. You're going to want to have a lot more time on your hands posting daily, if not multiple times per day. It's a lot more camera facing, like talking to the camera, kind of more raw content. And things like that. And then following trends too for TikTok. You'll want to kind of be active or have someone like if you have like a social media manager or somebody that's keeping up with what trends are going on in your specific industry on that specific platform. And then jumping on those quickly. So TikTok is a little bit more challenging, but it can definitely be worth it for a bigger reach if you have like the time or a team to help you with that. And then YouTube, I think obviously, long form is great for stuff like this, podcasts, longer chats. If you're doing like a one-on-one discussion with either like a client or another colleague or something like that, those can be great for longer form. And then of course there's YouTube shorts, which you can kind of repurpose from, usually I like to say Instagram because they're shorter than what you can do on TikTok. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Do people still use Facebook?
Yes, yes, definitely. A lot of my clients actually use Facebook. I would say it's a, I would say 45 plus user base. So it just really depends on your audience, right? If your audience is 45 plus, definitely post to Facebook. Also, Instagram and Facebook, if you have it connected appropriately, it's really easy. Everything just automatically transfers over there. It doesn't hurt to just have everything kind of auto post from your Instagram. But yeah, definitely a lot of people use Facebook. My husband uses Facebook. He doesn't know when he's on Facebook versus Instagram. So, it's like yeah, definitely. It definitely is used and all of my clients use Facebook.
So we did get a question and actually feeds
Okay.
into my next topic anyway. Let's talk about like fancy lights. Like, do you need a full-on setup? Like, what do you recommend for equipment setup
Mm.
when you're doing your own videos, right? So you want it to, obviously we know it's not professional, but you don't want it to be, looking real rough. So what do you
Sure.
recommend?
Sure. So, I mean, there's really inexpensive lighting devices that you can purchase on Amazon that like click to your phone. I would say if you're like, I would say like bare minimum, um, my best tips are either to have a light that connects to your phone and again, use that Amazon review space and just buy the best one that you can find for $30, $20, and it clips to your phone. That, or you don't even need to do that. If you want to just film in daylight, you sit in front of like a window and then you put record yourself in front of the window and you're going to get all that natural light. And yeah, I would just say like, make sure your backdrop makes sense. Do it in the salon or wherever it is that you work from. Maybe someplace that has like some art on the wall or some plants in the background. It doesn't need to be crazy. But yeah, we don't want like anything rough, right?
Mhm.
And I would say too, like using your back camera when you film is helpful for many reasons. So like So basically hitting record and then turning the camera around and having it shoot you is basically going to pull in more better light, and it's going to have a better, higher quality video. And the other benefit to that is you're not staring at yourself and judging yourself the whole time you're talking to the phone. Um, so that can be super helpful. I would just say, like, make sure you have like some sort of either like um something to prop the phone up, or I'm losing the
Like a
term.
tripod.
Thank you. A tripod, um, also very inexpensive on Amazon. Something that, you're not gonna be losing the phone every 2 seconds and having to
Mhm.
re-record. That can be helpful as well. But yeah, it's really very simple. And then if you're doing everything yourself, I recommend using CapCut to just, like, kind of trim your videos, edit your videos. You can add, on-screen captions from CapCut, or you can do that directly from Instagram. But usually I recommend, like, the simplest is just, like, doing all your edits in CapCut and then uploading it to Instagram. Just because sometimes you can be editing from Instagram and the app will crash and then you lose everything. If you're doing if you're doing that from CapCut, everything's saved automatically and it's just a lot less stressful. So,
And you do that from your phone?
mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do it from computer too. Emily, my videographer who does all the edits for Joanne's videos, she because we shoot in with like cameras at high definition, she will edit from CapCut on her laptop or her desktop just because of the size of the file. But if you're just filming from your phone, you can definitely just use the CapCut app, and there's a lot of great features from the free one. You can upgrade if you want, like, certain music or fonts and stuff, but it's not really necessary.
Okay. We like free.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, let's say my next endeavor is to, and we talked about this, to kind of put together lots of Q&As. So I have a bunch of questions that I want to answer and do a bunch of little videos out of it. Would you recommend that, like, you change outfits so that it looks like it's done on different days? Like, what sort of things kind of should we think about when we're trying to
Yeah.
bank? I guess that most of us are kind of busy. And so if you're planning to do some of these things, you'll probably just do it all at once and then,
Mhm.
piece it out after that.
Yeah. So I think that it's totally fine to have multiple videos with the same outfit. I think people expect that nowadays. It does create more of a realistic feel. It's like, oh, this is a real person that's like, filming a bunch of videos at once. Like that's what I do. And it makes it more relatable for the viewer. So I would say, like, I don't know, maybe have like 2 or 3 outfit changes if you're gonna really do, like, I don't know, a 3-hour session where you're answering like 20 different questions. If you're just sitting down and doing like 3 questions, just wear the same
Mhm.
outfit. And nobody it's fine. I mean, if you think about like when we come to shoot you, Joanne, like we're shooting you one day and then we're using that content for probably a year, you're in the same outfit, you know?
Mhm.
Nobody really cares that much. But I would say if you want 2 or 3, but it's really I think it's really fine.
Yeah. So let's go through some must do basics for every small business owner. So, what should you have in place for your social media for it to be, complete and captivating, I guess?
Yeah. So the first place you always want to look is the bio. Obviously, people are gonna like a new viewer obviously is going to first see your piece of content. They're going to see a video from you first, and then that they're going to click to your profile. The first thing they're going to look at before they even start looking at more content from you is your profile. What do you do? Who are you? What are your credentials? Where's your website? Things like that. So a bio is really important. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, like it's all across the board. Keep it very straightforward to the point. Like I think sometimes people get a little flowery, like, oh, I'm a boy mom and I love dogs. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't really matter. Like, we want to talk about, like, okay, this is my credential, this is my experience. These are the top things that I do. Like, I'm an author and I'm a speaker, or you know what I mean? Just like really boil it down to the nitty-gritty. And I would say, like, if you have a specific title, put it in your name field. Like, um, I forget what yours is, Joannie, but it's Joannie Gonella, and then your credential is right there. So
CPE, yeah.
PE, yeah, thank you. So it's just right there for people to see automatically. Someone who is looking for that or already knows what that means, it's gonna register. And then, below that, I think for you, we have like that you're an author, that you own the salon, that you run the academy, saying like you're a co-owner or an owner or a founder, like all of those are great words. Linking any other pages. So for example, like, Joanne's is like co-owner of the academy, and then we have the handle there. So everything's just like easy to look through, and people can be they're like, oh, I'm very impressed. Like these are her credentials, and here's the proof. Like here's the page, and I'm gonna go there. Um, and then I would say for links, try to keep it as simple as possible. I know sometimes that can be hard if there's like multiple seminars or things going on, but um really like where do you want people to go? What do you want people to do right away? And really tell them, like, book an appointment, and then the link is, you know, to a form where they can book an appointment, or to the landing page with the phone number. Or if you want people to DM you to book an appointment, put that in your bio, like DM for an appointment. Just really straightforward, and not fluffy. You don't have a lot of characters that you can use for the bio, so like really keeping it tight and making sure you're using keywords that are specific to what you do, because all of that is searchable in Instagram. If people are looking for someone like you, make sure that they can find you.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I would say the bio, and then after that, keeping a consistent schedule for your content. So I think that it's more important to stay consistent than to have like a super polished feed, or to have a ton of content that's maybe not relevant or not captivating. Like really kind of look at your time and be like, how much time can I spend, shooting a video and then editing it and then posting it? How much time can I spend doing that? Um, and then decide, like, I'm going to post 4 times a month or whatever it is, and then just, stick to that, and get people kind of on schedule with you. And then I would say, like, with stories, post as much as you're able, several times per week, or I don't know, almost, I mean, some people post every day. Again, like whatever it is that makes sense for you, and really showing people what you're doing behind the scenes, or like resharing posts from the feed that are still relevant. Maybe you're promoting a seminar or an event or something like that, or a new service, and you want to reshare a video or reshare a post. Stories are great for that, just to get additional visibility. And stories are going to be what keep you top of mind for current clients or potential new clients that are watching you behind the scenes. The more your icon pops up on top, the more they remember you
Mhm.
exist and all of that.
Do you recommend, like, I think Meta don't isn't there a feature where you can auto post? Like you set up your posts and then it just kind of like you can pre-do it, I
Yeah,
guess.
schedule.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you can't. I think some apps will let you schedule to stories. I usually don't recommend that, just because you can't like add text or like locations or links or anything. So I usually recommend just post your stories manually. Um, Feed posts, yeah, if it's like a carousel or a photo and you want to schedule that in advance, I think that's usually fine. I will note, if you're trying to do it as a collaboration post, you can't schedule that. You do have to do those manually. And then reels, I usually like to recommend those are manual as well, just because I just get scared. I just get scared that like text is going to be off or the music's going to be wrong or something. So yeah, and it's just, find a time that works for you to post. Like, I think especially with Instagram, The algorithm, the way that it works is it shows you what you look at the most. So, like, next time you're just scrolling on your personal Instagram, you'll notice, like, oh, I always look at like Kathy and Sam's pages first, and they're probably going to be the first people that come up on your feed, whether they posted 5 minutes ago or last Tuesday. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's why stories are so important because the more people are looking at your stories and maybe sending you direct messages, and just kind of like keeping you on their little story carousel, the more you're gonna come to the top of their feed when you do post. So it's like, I think sometimes people get really worried, like, oh, I have to post like at 8 a.m. every Monday. And it's like, you don't. Like, I think there are some platforms where that matters. Like if we're talking like email, or I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Substack, but like any more like longer form content, the time period for that kind of stuff I've noticed matters more. But like with something like Instagram, if you're like, I can only post my reel at 9 p.m., like just post it. Maybe share it again to stories the next day when you have some time, like during the day. But it's still going to reach the people that it was going to reach if you posted it the next day at 8 a.m. So,
Do you recommend that people boost or promote their posts?
yeah, absolutely. I think it can be really beneficial, especially for events, seminars, something specific you're selling. Those can be really, really impactful. I would say try to run it for at least 10 days to get like the best reach. And Facebook, like every year that I like have a call with them, they increase how much they want you to spend every day, obviously. But I've actually been playing around with like just kind of using just like $5 a day and doing like a 15-day run. And honestly, I don't think it really makes that big of a difference. I think the longer the run is what's more important, because it gives people the chance to see it more often. And you,
Mhm.
so yeah, but yeah, definitely if you have the budget for that, I think it can be super um impactful. Also, if you boost your reels, those have been doing really, really well, and getting a lot of new followers from my clients. I've been doing kind of playing around with that in the last year, and I feel like that's been a great ad option. You do have to do it all from like laptop, from your Facebook. So make sure like your Instagram's connected to your Facebook so you can boost everything from Facebook. And then you can either choose to like run it on both platforms, or you can just run it on Instagram, whatever you think is best for your audience.
Today, we want to shine some light on some of our amazing partners who are helping shape the future of electrology education, services, distribution, and so much more. We're thrilled to have such amazing partners and supporters. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned professional, these vendors and schools have what you need to succeed.
Hello listener, this is Hazel Bloom with Kiwi Fruit Coaching. Just a quick message this week. I just wanted to let you know that I have support groups that I run online for free, and they are open to members of the LGBTQIA+ community and its allies. If you or any of your clients need support, we have a quickly growing community that is helping each other get through a stressful time. Please go to kiwifruitcoaching.com/events. There is a link to the online community and also information about our in-person groups in Centralia and Olympia, Washington. That's kiwifruitcoaching.com/events. Thank you for listening. Stay strong, stay sane, and stay safe.
Heading to the Golden State, California Electrology Academy offers an immersive learning experience that prepares students for national certification, as well as many states with reciprocity to California's licensing exams. Led by Joannie and Joanne Gonella, they bring decades of quality services and education. CEA offers flexible schedules, open enrollment, and a supportive learning environment, making them a perfect place to start your electrology journey. Be sure to check them out for cutting-edge education right in sunny Southern California. And visit electrologyacademy.com. That's electrologyacademy.com. When it comes to top-tier machines, look no further than Aesthetic Systems. They offer the latest in technology for both the electrology and aesthetics industry. Their machines
furniture, and more are known for reliability and precision, helping the professionals deliver the best results to their clients. Stay ahead of the curve with Aesthetic Systems' innovative tools. You can learn more about them at aestheticsystems.com. That's aestheticsystems.com. Thanks for tuning in to Electrolysis Unplugged. Be sure to check out our amazing sponsors for the best in electrology tools, training, technology, and so much more. Now, back to the show.
So we talked a little bit about how it's important for us to be present as a person, for people to see us when we're, selling, quote unquote. I mean, because that's kind of what you're doing with the business page anyway. So do you recommend that when people are curating their posts that they do show themselves more than maybe like stock photos? Because I've seen a lot of accounts that do a lot of stock photos with like, here's 5 recommendations, or a stock photo and like electrolysis is permanent, which is great. But what kind of variety of posts do you think people should have?
I think that a lower quality photo of yourself or your team or your space is going to be more impactful than a stock image. I really try to stay away from stock photography. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but um, especially if so I don't know if this is just me because I'm in the industry, but like I know like all of the images. And so like I know I can tell immediately like, oh, well, I've used that before or I've seen that before. And again, that could just be me because I'm in the industry, but you don't want people to feel that. Like you want people to feel like a sense of authenticity and originality when they come to your page. And I think that, you know, even in the last, like, 5 years, like, the phone cameras are really good. You just kind of have to you kinda have to just look at lighting again, like, windows are your best friend. Just, like, take photos in front of windows, get that light off Amazon if you don't have access to natural light, that works great as well. But yeah, just kind of you could, like, play around with it too, like, repurpose old content that you utilized using stock and use some photos that maybe you think are not the best, but they're still, something that really showcases the real you or like your team and its real environment and see how it performs differently, and kind of just see what your audience likes. I think again, kind of going back to what I said in the beginning, like people sell um rather than like the actual product. People are buying from people. And so I think if you can really show that personality and that person forward aspect, it's going to be a lot more impactful.
So now what about responding to messages and comments and all of that? Like how much, sure, like responding to DMs is one thing, but do you have to, respond to every single interaction that comes through? How important is that?
Well, I always say respond to every single comment, even if it's an emoji. And the reason that I say that is because the algorithm can't tell if it's you commenting or if it's somebody else. So the more comments you have on a piece of content, the better it's going to perform and continue performing. And the better chance that your next piece of content is going to perform well as well, because Instagram's saying or Facebook is saying, hey, this person's last post got lots of comments. Um, so I really push my team to respond to every single little comment. Sometimes it's like, well, it's just an emoji. It's okay. Like just send another emoji back. Like it doesn't hurt. It takes
Mhm.
like less than a second. And you can kind of like book time to do that all at once. Like set aside 30 minutes like a week and kind of just go through all your posts and respond to everything. I would say like kind of what you're saying, like with DMs, like maybe trying to make sure you're responding to those more frequently. But if you want to kind of take a chunk of time once per week and just like respond to all your comments at once, that's totally fine too. Um, yeah, so I would say it's important. Also like outbound engagement. So like what we're talking about now is more inbound. So like responding to things that have come in, but outbound would be like, engaging and interacting with other similar communities, a client base, similar service industries. I think it can be sort of confusing because you're like, well, why am I going to give engagement to somebody who's a competitor? The reason that you want to do that is so that you can get in front of their audience. You can kind of, they are already accessing the people that you want to access, give their audience a reason to follow you by kind of showing up in their comment space. And yeah.
So you should be following pretty much like anybody, or like anybody that somewhat relates is good. Like, so like if you have an account, is it kind of the more the merrier, or
Yeah, I
how
mean,
does
be
that go?
selective on who you're following and who you're commenting on. Definitely keeping it within industry. So, like for example, for Joanne's page, we kind of broaden it out to like the beauty industry. So not just like electrolysis or hair removal, but like anything beauty related that's going to get the attention of somebody that's, looking to keep up with their body in a certain way or change their appearance in a certain way, like that's already top of mind for them. So kind of getting in those spaces where those people are. So yeah, so not just like anybody. I mean, I think like it makes sense if there's a client that you're close with and you want to keep them kind of nurtured and on top of their mind and following them, like they have a personal page and they're not posting about anything beauty related, but like it makes sense because they're your client. Or if you have a relationship or a partnership with someone, something like that, obviously like that's fine as well. But yeah, I usually trying to keep within certain industries. It also speaks to the algorithm in a way that says like, oh, this is the content they want to see, this is where their content belongs, this is the type, like those audiences are the types of people that are going to want to see their content. So it just kind of all speaks to each other, like the way that you utilize your page. So also like I always say this too, like if you're just kind of scrolling at the end of the day and you're looking at random reels, do it on your personal page because you're really screwing up your algorithm. If you're just kind of looking through random stuff, you're looking at celebrity things. I had a client one time, every time I'd go on there, her algorithm was all messed up because she was just sitting on there looking through like celebrity news or wedding stuff or whatever, and it was not had nothing to do with her nonprofit. So, it kind of skewed the algorithm in a way that was not beneficial to her. So I was always recommending like, hey, like let's kind of do that activity on a different page, even if you need to
Mhm.
create like a mock profile that you don't even post to, but you want to sit and scroll on it. Like just, if you're
I tend to
scrolling,
doom scroll.
yeah.
And I've noticed sometimes, like I'm in my professional page, and the content is completely different. And so when I'm scrolling
Exactly.
through, it's all very much like beauty industry related, aesthetics. And then I realize usually just by the algorithm, I'm like, oh, I'm in the other page, and then I
Yeah.
switch, and then now I'm in the jokes. You know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
so as far as mixing it up when we are posting, so what do you recommend is like a good strategy as far as the types of posts that you want to put up?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I would say kind of play with what you're play with stuff. So I always recommend starting with, photography and video, see what's working best. If both, keep it going. If you feel like video is the only thing that's performing, maybe just spend more time doing video. Really kind of test out what your audience is engaging most with, and then just kind of lean into them, see how what their behavior is and do more of that.
When you're going through and kind of scoping out the other accounts, to interact with, or to, add a follow or anything like that, have you noticed kind of what's working really well for competition, I guess?
Hmm.
I know
Yeah,
that that's
I would
probably oddly
say
specific and you see a lot of
no.
clients, but
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about your industry, I see a lot of close-up work.
mhm.
So, like, and before and after. And results. If you can get clients that are comfortable being filmed, that's really great. Um, because then you can show your work in action and the result in action. I think that kind of stuff is really it's really pleasing to watch. Um, especially like pulling out hairs or like seeing
It's like
like
a Dr. Pimple Popper video, huh?
yes, exactly, exactly. That kind of stuff I feel like does really well.
Mhm.
And then again, also just the kind of, forward facing discussions and sort of like real environment talking stuff, like whether it's, from your office or from your phone, your car or whatever. Just kind of getting on and talking about something that is trending in your industry or something that is constantly a question, things like that.
Mhm. So you're a small business too. So how do you promote CS media?
So right now we do a lot of promotion on Instagram, at auto post to Facebook, and then we also do LinkedIn. Our industry, we work with more of the 45 plus demographic. So we scaled back on TikTok because it just was not, our demographic just wasn't over there as much. And what we are leaning, we've been the last year, we've been really building our content creator library. So we have a handful of clients that do a lot of work with influencers, content creators. So our page is really tip based right now, especially for creators who are creating their own content on a weekly basis. So certain tips on what is performing best, how to kind of like take care of yourself when you're creating that much content and things like that. So it's also very helpful, I feel like, for small businesses that are creating their own content as well. Those tips can be helpful in kind of the same manner. But yeah, we do mostly reels, um, an occasional carousel, but we usually stick to video content for our Instagram and LinkedIn. And we do a quarterly email newsletter. Um, and we do stories like 4 times a week. Um, and I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's we kinda narrowed it down. We were doing a lot more for a while, and I think, less is more, kind of figure out
Yeah.
where you're getting the most traction, where your audience is, and just kinda stick to that, um, can be more
So you're not
beneficial.
spread quite so thin too.
Yeah,
It's like people might
exactly.
want to open accounts on every social media platform known to man, but you also have to maintain those, otherwise it just becomes kind of stale.
Right, right, and you don't I think no like, if we're just talking TikTok, like, no presence on TikTok is better than, like, a half presence, I would say.
Mm,
And even, like, if you're like, "Hey, I just feel like my audience is only on Facebook and I only have time to do Facebook," fine, like, just do Facebook. Um, you know,
yeah.
don't
I
feel
feel
like
like TikTok, it's like you go on there to make a reel where you're dancing, or you're sitting there teaching something, like
Right.
answering a question, like that's the type, like if that's the type of videos that you like to make.
Mhm.
And we have some people, I think that even on this call today, there are some people that are pretty active on TikTok. That's like, yeah, you have to maintain that. So unless
Yeah.
you're, willing to dance all the time or create like these like funny reels, these funny videos or a teachable video or something like that, it's probably not the platform for you so
Yeah,
much.
it's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah. Stephanie's always trying to get everybody to dance.
Yeah, she does
I
a good job.
refuse.
I
Yeah.
I've seen some of her stuff. I'm like, she's really good on camera with the
Hmm.
dancing and stuff. I can't do that.
Right. Yeah, it's not for me either. So, what are some common mistakes? What's the biggest mistake that a small business makes on social media?
Hmm. I mean, I kind of want to go back to like the like teaching, like really training your algorithm, I think is
Hmm.
huge. Keeping, you know, you hear a lot like, do I need to niche down or not niche down? Like, yes, like niche down, like keep specific, like what you're talking about, like make it really clear that you are, giving advice on XYZ or you are an expert in XYZ. If you want to like kind of expand the boundaries and like showcase lifestyle stuff, that can be super helpful for nurturing your client base. But again, kind of try to keep that in stories. Or if you're doing like maybe if you're doing like a reel and you share like in office in salon and then like maybe the team is out doing something together or you know what I mean, something where it makes sense, like I guess that's fine, like kind of set up pillars for yourself, set up boundaries, like these are the types of things that I'm going to share that are maybe unrelated to my industry, but like keeping that consistent and not straying. I think sometimes I'll see like a very typical, especially in wellness and beauty industries, is like kind of that stock photography thing that you're talking about, and then doing
Mhm.
maybe a quote on top of like a stock image. And then there's just like people are like, well, what am I looking at? Like, why are you telling me this? And I think that what the what the goal was with that is like, oh, I'm trying to showcase that like I'm very zen or like I'm into this poet or whatever, and it makes sense because like this is who I am, but like it had like you need to kind of like tie everything back to the main point.
Mhm.
Why does this relate? Why do people care? Like, why should they save this post? Why should they share this post? Think about that when you're creating something. I think too, a lot of people get really wrapped up in aesthetics, like, oh, I love this color scheme, so I'm going to use these photos of flowers or whatever, and like try to not think about like the aesthetic so much, but like think about posts on their own, like how are they providing value and like why should somebody follow you based on this exact like this post? Like every
Do
post, like
you remember when the aesthetic of your post page, like people had like designs?
yeah, it used to be a big thing.
Yeah, I'm glad that went away because
Yeah,
that
where like
sounds
it was
complicated.
like when if you posted one too many, it like ruined the whole design.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
stressful. Yeah. I mean, you're definitely gonna come across people who saw pages like that, who do well, and
Yes.
that's great, but, like,
No, I think it's amazing. I just don't
yeah,
know how it's doable.
it's not well, it's just not necessary, like, it's
Mhm.
just not. I mean, you can create a cohesive aesthetic without doing that, like, keep the same filter on your videos or always shoot in the same 3 rooms or always sometimes like what I do with CS Media is I have a color scheme for when we shoot. So like I have some employees that are very bright. They love to wear bright colors and I'm like that's great, but like keep those at home when we're shooting because we're a very neutral based like color scheme. That's kind of like our brand colors. So like thinking about what colors you're wearing when you're shooting can be really helpful
Mhm.
for creating an aesthetic easily. And then you're looking at the page and you're like, oh, I'm always like in blacks and browns or, reds and purples or whatever it is. Maybe even thinking about your brand colors when you in terms of wardrobe. And again,
Thankfully, a lot of us wear like scrubs or something
right.
like that, and so that's an easy enough uniform gets put
Mhm.
on, and but
Exactly.
maybe like using the same fonts.
That too. Yep. Same fonts, same colors of the fonts, like sticking to white fonts or sticking to yellow or whatever it is. And yeah, like if you're using a Canva font, like try to remember what that font was and use it each time, or vice versa if you're doing that on Instagram, selecting the same fonts. Even like the style of music you're using, kind of try to keep that like, in a way, like, similar, like, are you kind of wanting to do more low key, like, instrumental jazz stuff, or are you wanting it to be more upbeat? Like, what do you like, what is your vibe as a person? Like, what do you really like? And kind of, like, try to keep it that way and not do what you know, just be yourself. Don't be like,
Right.
"Oh, this person's using this kind of music, I need to use that," Obviously, there's
Mhm.
trending audios and things like that, but select the ones that you actually really like and, and then I think personal brands are the easiest to keep cohesive as long as you're being yourself. Um, so that's a benefit.
There's a question here. So what do you recommend to be able to record clear close-up videos?
Yeah. Put the phone right in front of the camera, back camera, turn it around. You can kind of figure out, like, do a couple test runs, like have on your tripod and like, or on a, leaned up against something sturdy, and kind of do a couple test runs, see how close your face is, and then be like, okay, this is where I want it to be. And then you can always shoot from the same place, or just kind of test that out each time. But yeah, like just kind of map it out and get the distance. And then yeah, that natural light's always going to be your best friend for sure. And the
And
back
then
camera.
there was a quick, just a comment. I'm having trouble separating my work pages from the MAE pages. So that's an association, correct,
Okay.
Michaela? Or is that your business? So yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely have to make sure that you try to do that because you want to make sure that you're keeping things separate. It's kind of like separating bank accounts. You're not supposed to commingle
Right.
funds, right? From business
Right.
to personal. So social media is the same way. Don't commingle your social media accounts. And
Hmm.
then there's somebody here, I posted a question in the chat and I said, who still has to set up the social media? And so I have one person that said me. So let's say that you've got a person here that is starting like from scratch. What do
Hmm.
you think that they should be kind of getting into?
Um, I would say start with like an Instagram, Facebook, like connect the pages. And it should take you through it. It's pretty simple. You can do it now where you create it from Instagram and then they'll help you create a Facebook page. Um, and I would say, yeah, start with Instagram, get your bio really clean and to the point, and start kind of posting stuff, and it can auto post to Facebook, and see which platforms are doing best for you, for your audience. Do a lot of outbound engagement in the beginning, because you can post things, but it's gonna be kind of feel like you're screaming into the void for a while. When you're a new page, it's hard. So I always recommend a lot of like follow people, engage with people, be really like follow people that you really do want to connect with, content that you like, things that you want to consume. Like try not to make it such a burdensome activity, like look at things that are interesting to you and then that you feel like you could authentically respond to and say like, "Oh, hey, I love the way you did X, Y, and Z," or "I love that technique," or "Have you ever tried this?" Because then it really showcases like your expertise in the comment section for other people. You're building a relationship with that person that you're engaging with, but you're also putting your footprint out there for other people to find you as well.
So tell me a little bit about like the kinds of services that your company does, just so that they understand what's out there.
Mhm.
If like, because I think I told you when I first hired you that I don't like social media. I go on there to like doom scroll at funny
Yeah.
things, that like cat videos. That's about it. Like my personal Instagram has maybe 11 posts on it, and I haven't added something for like 2 years.
Yes.
So for me, it was important that whatever happened, I was as hands off as possible. Don't ask me to edit videos or come up with captions and things like that. So explain to me, or to the group especially, kind of what does your company do?
Mhm. So, majority we work on a retainer based, meaning that we build out like a plan for each specific company. We look at what they're doing, what they're offering, what their budget is, and then we say, okay, hey, we can do everything from like shooting video, photography, all of the edits, to all the way down to posting it, writing the captions, doing the inbound and outbound engagement, getting everything scheduled or posted on time, and keeping up the presence of the pages, anywhere from Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Again, we can do TikTok as well. We just don't have a lot of clients that are on there right now, but um, yeah, so any of those platforms, and we really do everything for in terms of like the management and creation of content. We also provide, I think I mentioned earlier briefly that we do work with a lot of content creators. We have a large clientele base in like shopping centers. So that content creator library makes a lot of sense for them. Usually if you're like a personal brand, maybe if you wanted to like have a influencer come and get a service from you and do a collaboration video, something like that could make sense. But so that is an option of things that we do. We also provide email marketing, um, and long form video. So like for YouTube or anything commercial, professional based. And we're adding, I don't know if this matters to you guys, but I'm excited about it. Um, Garrett, my husband, he's the co-owner, he just got his drone pilot license. So we're doing like aerial photography and aerial videography. So yeah, so we do a lot of stuff.
That's pretty fun.
But yeah, anywhere from shooting it. We also can like just edit your content. Like Joannie mentioned she's gonna be filming some questions just from her own personal space and on her personal time. And then we'll take that raw footage and edit it, either colorize it, add captions, add the music. We kind of keep up with like what's trending, for picking audios and things like that. But we also do ads. Like we can run Facebook, Instagram ads, reporting. Yeah, all of the all of
So as
that good
much
stuff.
or as little as
Yeah.
they're interested in. There was a question if you work in the Bay Area. I went ahead and answered that you really can take because you do this, remotely, right? So unless it's the
Yes.
video part,
Right.
but for the most part, everything else can be done remotely. So you can really take clients from anywhere.
Yeah, we have
And then
clients in Colorado, Illinois, yeah, all over. So
do you work? Can you work with any budget or is it set pricing?
we try to be very flexible. I would say if you're looking into like retainer based stuff, the lowest usually is like 500 a month. And then I kind of just work in what you need and kind of how it makes sense. I do have not a large team, but a smaller team. We have three girls, three women that work for me. And then I have two videographers. So there is like a team. It's not just myself, and everything kind of gets delegated to the appropriate person. So just whatever makes sense within their time, within that budget. So I would say, but I also provide like consulting or coaching, and that's like under 500. I would say like a good solid retainer where you're getting like videos and posting and kind of like more of like all of that social media management is going to be closer to like $1,000 a month. Because again, it's like a team, I think there's a lot of people you can work with that it's just like they're solopreneurs and they do everything themselves. But I've kind of built this into something a little bit larger over the years. And so, yeah, it's more of a team and you're getting people doing their specialized things. One person's doing outbound engagement, somebody else is editing your videos, somebody else is writing captions. So there's
Awesome. I
specialized.
did drop your email in the chat. So for those that are interested. And so let's close with a quick win. If someone does one thing this week, what should it be?
Oh, look at your bio. Definitely look at your bio, clean it up, keep it really professional to the point. And then something that I didn't talk about was pinned content. So maybe shooting a quick video that says who you are, what you do, um, something that showcases your expertise, maybe answering a question. Shoot that, do a really simple edit or don't edit it, post it how it is, and pin that to your Instagram, Facebook page. It's the first thing people see. If you have an event or a new service or a webinar or promotion, always pin that content to the top of your page. Yeah.
All right, that's great. So um, do you want to drop your Instagram handle so that maybe your website in the chat so that people can know where to find you? And
Yes.
I already did And there's this one quick last question here. The name of the editing app, CapCut,
Oh.
right? CapCut.
Yeah, I'll drop
That-
that in as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Carly, thank you so much for breaking this down. I think it makes it doable for anyone.
You're welcome.
And so try to take action this week. So like Carly said, if you can go ahead and work on that bio, and let's try to do that quick little 15-second video where you're introducing yourself. And that could be the first video that goes up on everybody's social media, especially those that haven't really taken that step just yet. Other than that, then we'll just kind of wish everybody a happy Tuesday, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.